Okay, now the call recording is on. So like I said, what a holiday and snow for those who joined late and missed if you didn't see the email this morning. People are off today, and if they are off and they're home, they have kids in their home, they're not going anywhere because of snow. So what a great day to be making calls. So I'll try not to take too much time. I'm going to go ahead and mute us all. If you need to speak, just go ahead and unmute yourself. And then, right now I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. And so that way we get a good clean sound going on. So everybody's muted. So, like I said, if you need to unmute yourself, go ahead and speak. I don't always see the instant message chats because they're on my other screen. So I'll try to keep that closer to where I can visually see it. If something, so anyway, let's get going. So the first thing is when you log into your home page, here you are, and there's a couple pages I want to share with you. One is if you go to the help, right? If you go to help, and then if you scroll down to support and how-to videos, right? Support and how-to videos, then there's all kinds of help right here, all kinds of help. So just become familiar with that and kind of look through these. I mean, look through the categories and say, oh, wow, I didn't know you could do, one of the advantages I had is I was, an agent when this software was first developed. So I kind of seen it mature, and anytime they added something, I was able to see it. So, but like I said, but here's all kinds of great help here. So, and videos and, FAQs and all kinds of great help here. So anyway, so don't be afraid to click on that stuff. So again, let's see. What happened there? I still look like I stopped? Okay, I'm still sharing. Looked like my share window disappeared. So anyway, so let's close that. And then another page is I think it's on the help, is classes. If you go to help, click on classes, here is a link to all the classes and their locations. So Salt Lake County or Salt Lake Board of Realtors, Utah County Association, up in Ogden, and it'll tell you where the classes are and the class, and you can register. And every one of them is a 1-hour CE credit. So that's a pretty good, there's all kinds of classes. So don't be afraid to take these classes. The MLS is a very, very, very powerful tool. So just to give you an idea, if you were to go and hit search, right, I have my kind of custom searches, right? And if you just hit active, right, so active, we have 6,500 active in the MLS, which is virtually nothing. During the crash, we'd have 14, 15, if not more, 18, 20,000 listings. So, but just let's take the status off for a second, just to so you have. Let's see. Let's clear it. Let's see. Clear. And so something is not adding up, right? So we have more than that. I know there's some kind of, it's stuck on something. But normally when you have that, there's like over a million records. Oh, that's what it was. If you go to archive, right? So if you hit the history report, that's the number of property records we have that have. So well over a million. So 1.2 million property records are in the MLS. So there is so much data in there that it's unbelievable. So we're not going to go drill down, but we can drill down in the history. But if you go there, all you got to do is hit active. There's a stat for you right there, right? 6,500 active homes in the MLS. But anyway, let's get going on the regular statistical page. So most of you, let's see, we'll start from the home page. And so when you're on your home page, depending on what board you're in, so something's not loading here. It's dragging. So there we go. Depending on which board, I think different boards have a different widget here. So, but one of the, this is the Salt Lake board. But then if you don't have, so this, if you're in Salt Lake, you click on this thing right here. This thing is the forecast breakfast from James Woods, who is a local economist and very well respected. But there's some great stuff right here. And you can actually take this document, right, delete this page, make your own cover page. And then the fourth page is the advertising for Daybreak. Delete that page. But you could take these 2 pages. This is chock full of information, and you can put a cover page on there and send it out as your own, and just send it out to your SOI. This is a great tool. And if you're not if your particular board doesn't have it, let me know, and then I'll send it to you. So, but I mean, it gives you great stuff. I mean, just go ahead and read all that. I'm not going to sit down and read it to you, but go ahead and read that. So that's just on that front widget. But let's get going on the actual stats themselves. So on the MLS, there's on the toolbar, there's statistics. Market share is a premium to where you log in and do different things. So I'm going to go through absorption real quick. I'm just going to go down the list, and then I'll tell you which ones I think are the most important ones. Absorption, the problem with absorption rate is it takes, like, so if you have active under contract and things like that, so what it's going to do, it's going to take the current active and under contract and then compare it to the number of solds in the last 30 days. Now, and then here's another little help for you. So if you're on a statistic page, you just click the help, and then you can read through this. It's a little hard sometimes to read through that. So what I do is I just go ahead and copy all that data, and then and I'll just go ahead and paste it into a notepad or something. It just makes it a little easier to read and paste it in there. It just makes it easier to read. So, but what it's doing, absorption rate equals the number of solds, and then so the results in properties a month. So they're just the problem. That's a problem though, because it says here, look, if the results in the properties month, if there are 24 properties sold over the past 3 months, the absorption rate is 8. If there's well, let's see, how do they do it? So absorption rate and inventory are calculated as follows. Absorption rate equals number of solds divided by the months, right? So if the inventory is calculated by the current listings by the absorption rate. So under contract properties can be included, but here's the problem that runs in. So, and I'll tell you the formula that I like. So you can come through here and play. So you can come in and choose area, which you can choose county and things like that. So you could break it down by list price. So let's just choose Salt Lake, and then let's just hit view results and see what it gives you. So, but I don't, like I said, the following default has been removed. So I guess they're looking for, no, there it goes. So what it's going to tell you is you have 2 months supply here and that. And now this will be fairly accurate, not too, I mean, right there. So there you have your inventory, and then you have 3.97 months, right, absorption rate. So now some of those may be right. Now, and again, and I'll explain the problem with you. If you took January solds, right, and divide it by January's actives, well, that's not going to help you because January may be a slow month. And then, so the way I like to do it is, and I actually have a spreadsheet that I'll share with you. And so let me pull it out. So what I like to do on absorption rate is, well, this is geography there. So I like to take the number of active listings, right, plus the number of pending sales, and then I like to take the number of solds. And so let's do that real quick. So let's take, let's just go Salt Lake County. Let's just go active listings, Salt Lake. Where are we at? Yeah, it's funny when you have people watching you, you slow down. So there are 1,700. That can't be right. Yeah, that's right. 1,700 active listings in Salt Lake. So we're just going to take that number and put it right here. So number of active listings, 1,709. And then we're going to go over here, and then we're going to take the number of pending sales. And then there's 2,237. And then so if you take, that's a lot. I mean, 2,237, we have considerably more pending. Then we want to take the number of sold in the last 60 days. And I'll kind of explain that to you in a minute. So then we're going to take sold, and then you go 60 days, and then that gives you 1,960. And then what happens is this formula here, it takes the pending sales and the sold sales and then divides it by 3. And then that gives us a factor. And what that does is it tells us what's currently pending and the 2 months sold. So what that's doing, that's giving us more of an over time period rather than just comparing this month to last month, because it doesn't work that way, because things are so different as time moves on in the year. So what that's telling us, based on that, we have 1.22 months supply of inventory in Salt Lake County. Now, if you were to break that down into some of the lower price ranges, it would even be less. So I mean, that just tells you there are no listings. So if you can get your hands on a listing, then, I mean, it's gold. So, but anyway, I'll share that. Does that make sense? I mean, if you can chat, if you have questions, either chat them in, and I'll do my best to get them, or unmute yourself and please ask, and then I'll do my best to go along. But I like the idea of taking, rather than just taking 1 month over 1 month and just say, well, because that'll be totally different the following month. I like to take a slice of time and the current pending, current active, current pending plus 2 months sold. It gives you this number, and then that gives you your factor. So Amy must be getting kicked out all the time. So anyway, so that's the absorption rate. But you can go ahead and use the MLS absorption rate. I mean, it'll still give you some pretty interesting information. Now, the cool part about this is if you modify, you can go in and drill down. You could do absorption rate by zip code. You can do absorption rate by, subdivision if you want, price points and things like that. So it'll really help you out, But again, based on it's not an exact science. One of the other problems we have with this absorption rate formula is we're not seeing all the new construction that's not on the MLS, which I promise you is a large number. So that's one of the problems with using an MLS for absorption rate. It's a little challenging, but it's all we have to go by. So let's go to the next one real quick. Home sales graph. Excuse me. So we'll click on that and go to the home sales graph. I'm also slow today, I guess. That's everybody home. There we go. So let's see. Yeah, home sales graph. So, there we go. So, and then it goes back to year 2013. So you can do, and then by quarter. So you can do total homes sold, total homes listed, and then you can do median. And then again, here's your help page. This home sales graph is a linear graph showing the following data: total number of properties listed, total number sold, median average price and sold, and then it does it for you in a graph. So let's just go ahead real quick. And then, well, we got Salt Lake as the default, still logged in. So I'm going to hit view results. It goes back to 2013. So, and again, this is not the one I don't focus on too much of it. And this one here, I believe, is crunching and adding it to where you can get it into an Excel file or, even any type of a spreadsheet format. So, let's see. Somebody, let's see. Somebody invited. Apologize. So that's what it'll look like. So what this is going to show you is the first quarter. It's going to walk you through the quarters, and then it's going to show you the different graphs. The median sold is in blue, and the dollar signs in total numbers sold in green. Or no, wait, no, yeah. Median's in blue, total numbers sold in black, and then total number of homes listed is in green. So you can see obviously that they follow each other. And then so I believe there's an export button there. Yeah. You can export this report right here. If you click export, you can have the option to give it to you in an Excel file, a tab delimited, comma delimited, or pipe delimited. If you're Going to comma delimited is the most common. You can download it in a comma delimited, add it to your Google Drive, open it up in a Google spreadsheet, and then have a really nice, document to play with. So I'll just open it up in a Excel file for you real quick. And then, but there's your screenshot. And then, but there's, let's see. So if you're in, well, there it is, just giving it to you in that report there. I thought there's another one. Yeah, so it gives you this too. So it's kind of breaking it down for you, but then maybe this is one of the reports I ran yesterday. But it breaks, here's one residential first quarter, and you're comparing it, over time. So that's the one I ran yesterday. So here's your home sales graph data. So what that did, you can create. So if you know how to work these, you can do your own graphs by going to, what do you call it? Just pulling up Excel and do that kind of stuff. So that's all Excel did with that one there. You can don't save. So then this is a different report. I did that yesterday playing around. So getting ready. So then you can change this to column. So it shows you column reports if that's a better way for you to read. Spleen. So area, some people like to read it that way. So these are all the different formats you could get. And then, of course, you can change all these filters. So if that's the kind of thing, that's home sales by quarter, which is, a quick way to get that kind of results. There's other things. So quarterly comparison, that's the one I had the spreadsheet for. So we go back to the same thing. So we're defaulted Salt Lake. And then, and again, the one I do with the most, we haven't gotten there yet. So I will, we'll get there. So this one here is the quarterly comparison. So in this one, I got going back to 2015. So we can just hit view results. And then, it takes a little bit to crunch this data. So remember, we have literally millions of lines of record. So even right here, look, it gives you the option. Well, mine, I just threw it in Excel, but there was even so if you cancel that, you even have a Google Docs option right here. So I got all these different versions of Excel, Apple Numbers, Open Office, Libra, and then Google Drive. You can just start right in Google Drive, and then, and just open it up, and let's see, it just pulls it right into a Google Drive. Well, I'm not quite sure. We're not going to spend a lot of time. We'll just do Excel. Where are we at? Microsoft Excel, Mac. Here we go. So 2007 and newer. Oh crap! I should have just opened the first one. So the one I had open. This is the report it gives you. So and what this does do is compare one first quarter to another first quarter. Right, so 2015, 16, 17, 2018 is not applicable. It doesn't have, we haven't completed a quarter. So it's going to show you some information based off of the search parameters that you put in. But you can drill down to a county, a zip code, an area. So you can run all kinds of reports. You don't have to be limited to a county. And then, of course, it goes through each, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, year to date. And then annual, it's showing you the annual. So, and again, remember each one of these has a help that kind of explain what the statistics are. You can adjust this data here, so we can go back and modify the search. We went back. You can change median to average. So whatever, and y'all know if you haven't seen this, these little blue things over here. These are actually hyperlinks that'll move you around the form. So if you want to go down to the sold date, you can just click on that, enter in a sold date or the listing broker. So if you want to look up brokerages, you could, and just this will take you back up to the top. So, but all the MLS search forms have those links, but you can create all kinds of different reports with that. So let's go to statistics. So, so sales per month, this is the one that I pretty much live under. So you can do this is the one where it kind of gives you some really good meat. And actually, I'm missing one of them. Is this the one? So which one am I missing? Absorption market, market share, home sales, market. Oh, I missed market summary. I apologize. So let me hit on market summary report. This is a good one too. Market summary will, market summary, you can do active pendings. So you can do all kinds of information. So let's just go to active, right? So let's just go and then, let's do Salt Lake County. But you can go in there and put like bedrooms and bathrooms and such like that. And then it'll give you reports. But let's do real quick what the report looks like. This one breaks it down, and you have the ability to change the price increment over here. So you can change it from 20, 50, 100, 250, right? But look at this right here. Salt Lake County, it's showing you 1,700 active listings, right? The high 10 million, the median 399.4, average at median CDOM, right? Days of cumulative days on market. So let's say if you're working with a buyer, and let's just keep it at the 50,000. But and you're working with somebody between the 2 and the 250 range, you know that there's only 180 active listings out there. And that's countywide, that's everything. So we didn't even do some of the breakdowns. So now let's kind of plug in, say, their wish list, if you will, right? You go to, let's see, not for me, not fluid with this form order. So we go to bedrooms. So square foot bedroom, let's go next. So total of bedroom, where's crap, I'm not used to this. I don't usually drill down, so let's go. So total bedrooms, I guess it would be numbers. Total right there would be, say they want a 4-bedroom and then they want a 2-bath house, right? Or at least one full, one there, or no, so one full and at least 1 3/4. And then now, and then say a garage, right? So we type in garage, let's search for garage, wherever that went. So let's see. Let's do next. So not garage capacity. Let's say at least a 1-car garage. Now you hit your view results, and you got between 2 and 250. There's only 22 listings in the MLS. Now I realize you can go do that the other way, but you can look at these and say, okay, based on those parameters, what's the price range should I be looking at, right? So the most inventory in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath with a garage is the 3 to 350. That's the, and then look at this. I mean, in 37 days, which is kind of interesting that if there's so few listings at 37, but when you go to 250 to 3, look at the time on market there, it's cut in half. So, I mean, it just gives you interesting insights to different segments of the market. So, so that's just one of those reports that, and again, each one, I just want to kind of give you a little bit of show you what they do so you can play in your own mind to use these. But you can also, it helps you to be, it helps you to be able to talk to people intelligently. So let's go to statistics. Let's go sales per month. This is the one, like I said, I live in the most. So let's go back to, say, the beginning of 2016, right? So that's 2 years. And then we use median, and we want to go to January, obviously. Then we want to do Salt Lake County. And then I don't know what other parameters, if it kept any of those other parameters. It did. So let's just clear search, and then we'll just do Salt Lake County, and we'll be good to go. So now we just have Salt Lake County. So then here's what the report looks like. And then it's going to give you sales per month, and it'll show you a bunch of different statistics. So it gives you the month, the count, the sales volume, the median to a list, median original list price. So this is telling you what the original list price. So if the price changes during, it'll tell you what it'll look like. So here's the numbers. So these numbers here, 100%, 99, 98. So what that's saying is this is 98% of the original list price. So sellers have only been overpricing them by like 2%. You know what I mean? So only like 2%, they've come down maybe from the original list price. So what that means is sellers are, you even have markets here that, what do you call it? In April, there was 101%. April of 2017. So, we're basically selling them for list price. You know, so what that tells you is if you're not getting activity right away, then, you know, and you can look at your sold and your median CDOM and say, look, if we're not sold within this many days, then that means we're probably more than 2 or 3% above list of value. That's kind of what that'll tell you. So, but let's look at this real quick. So you got January, the median sold price in January 2016 was 240. The median sold price of, December 2017, 294. So that's giving you an indication. So that's that one little stat I always say to use, right? So we want to take, let's see, 294 minus 240, right? And that gives us the difference. And then we want to take this number and divide it by the 240, I believe that's right. So 22.5%. So what that's telling us is that median price has jumped in Salt Lake County 22.5% from January 2016 until December of 2017. 22.5%. That's significant. And again, and I preach this all the time. When someone asks you how's the market, and you know the common answer is great, it's hot, it's crazy, and it's just nuts. All the accolades we use. Now, while they may be true, that doesn't mean anything to a consumer. And here's the cool part: everybody says that. So what if you were to say, hey, well, the median price has increased 22%, 22.5% over the last 2 years, you know, comma, why do you ask? So, you know, but this is how you get the numbers. And this is, and it's good to look at these, and it's good to look at them often to show you that, and don't worry about the current month. The current month is never, well, this is January, I'm sorry, just not the current month. But the current month down here, I mean, I don't like to count the month until about the 15th of the following month to where all the reporting has been completed. So because, I mean, just because it's February 1st or whatever date it is, or the first of the month, you know, especially some of the bigger boxes or the office where the agent turns in the paperwork and the office makes the changes, not the agent themselves. So, so anyway, so you never want to go past about the 10th of the month to get this. I mean, you want to wait till at least the 10th to get, you know, count a solid month. So that's that. Pretty. I mean, this is kind of the one you want to follow, because as you start to see, you know, the count, you want to pay attention to this count here, right? Because this count, as long as their counts are consistent, meaning if you drew this in a graph, and this isn't hard to do, you take this data and then I always, you know, and then you want to stop at that line. We won't go to February because it's incomplete. And then if you were to open up a spreadsheet and just, you can always dump that right in a spreadsheet. No big deal. And there you got it. And then you could start running your own graphs if you want it. If you just took these two fields right there, inserted a graph, and then, you know, it's telling you the month and then the count. You can see these over time. Now, if you were to do that over time, now what you'd want to do is you can see how they look the same. As long as they're kind of staying the same, you know, and then that means things haven't changed much. So it hasn't changed much. So that's kind of, you know, a way to, you know, do it again. So anyway, so that's that. Let's see if there's any. I think there's one more statistical thing. Yeah, the daily snapshot. I don't really use that much. Some people do. This one here it has interesting features. So some of the interesting features are you can do date ranges. So what this is doing, it's taking today's date and showing you the entire MLS, and then you can kind of create some filters over your county, city, or whatever. It's telling you an entire MLS of 7,200 listings today, but last year the same day there were, you know, 6,500. So a little bit of it. So it's kind of showing you that you know, I mean, it has value. There's no doubt about it. This has value. And then now they do the backup. So when running these numbers, you want to add these two together because backup, in my opinion, is under contract if they're taking backup offers, obviously. So looks like people got kicked out, but they're back in. So anyway, so you want to kind of add these two together, and then kind of know. So you can see, well, obviously, and the reason why this is up 98% because people probably just started using that feature. More people know about that feature today. So, and I had to find out from the MLS if this includes backup. But anyway, so you can kind of run that filter, and then you can do it by date range. But it gives you an idea that the fact that the pending contracts are up a little bit, but the inventory is down. So it's showing you some interesting numbers. That it's getting tighter and tighter all the time. It's definitely getting tighter all the time. So if you're to run this by county, so let's just pull Salt Lake and refresh that. So update report. So Salt Lake County hasn't changed much, so I'm assuming, so that's interesting to see that they haven't changed much. And then, but if you add these two up, they've actually increased. But that's actually the difference. We're actually showing more inventory. That's an interesting. So it's interesting to see if where the other counties are off. I mean, where the counties are down. So we're actually seeing a 1% tick, on this particular day. So, don't confuse it as more inventory. So you can do a date range. And so you'd say, let's just do February 1st to February 19th, hit an update. And it gives you a different style report. So, again, crunching through millions of records, literally more than 1.2 million records. So it's kind of showing you the 2 years neck and neck, kind of showing you how they range. And this, I don't know, if this has value to you, great. Again, the one I live in is sales per month. To me, that's the one. Let's see. Somebody's saying don't use the under contract reflect the backup, since it essentially means the same thing. But yeah, yes and no. So are they, are they separating them? Are they treating them as two different numbers? So I'd be curious to know from the MLS if all the under contract includes the backup, or are they two separate entities? So, so I don't know. So, do you have any insight on that, Deb? Is any clarity from the MLS? I'm assuming that's Deb and not Steve. So, nope. Yeah, okay. Nope or hope. Right, there you go. It's nope. So, okay. So I'll do my best to find that out. So that's kind of it. And remember, so if you go to help, there's, you got, this is cool. So if you're ever unsure of a rule, right, you got help, then you go there. And then here's a kind of a reference guideline. This is kind of like a cheat sheet of the MLS rules, right? So where you can kind of look up the legend here, some basic MLS rules, which is a handy little bugger because the rules themselves are, if you go there, that's a pretty big document that it's, you can see it over here. I mean, that little cursor got pretty small, and it scrolls down to 57 pages. That's not too bad, 57 pages, but the other one is just a handful. Kind of gives you a little reference, kind of cheat sheet, if you will. So, and then again, back to help, you got a list of classes and the support how-to videos. I mean, FAQs, and not everything's a video, but my gosh, look at all that help you have. So, a lot of great information in here. And I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of that Google spreadsheet for the absorption rates. And then go from there, and I'll also post the video for today's call. So I'm going to go ahead. So right now, please, if you're doing other things, I'm going to unmute everybody. So please, if you're hustling other deals and things going on, please put yourself on mute or give us, just stall for a second and what do you call it? And we'll go from there. So any questions? Let's see, unmute. So you're all unmuted if you want, and if you need to make noise, go ahead and mute yourself. So any questions? Any questions from anybody? So I always wonder if I did this outrageously great job, or nobody's actually listening. They got their screen on mute and they're actually doing something else.
No, you did a great job, Rob.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're live.
So anyway, so any thoughts, questions? What kind of data would you be interested in knowing? And maybe something I didn't really cover, maybe we can look at, maybe I could show you how to do it.
I think the information you've came up with, that's something buyers needs to know, how much money they lost in the past year because they sat on the fence.
See, what a powerful way to use that tool, right? So let's think about that. By saving money for a down payment, if it took you 6 months and property values went up 4%, and you're at a $250 price range, that means unless you save $15,000, you lost money. Right? You would lose $10,000 by waiting 4 months to buy a $250,000 house.
Yeah.
Very, very good point, Todd.
That makes no sense.
Right? That's like, what a great Facebook ad, right? How much money am I going to lose by waiting to buy? That'll get clicks.
I'd like to see that report and plus the rate jumping up 0.5 point. You could put all kinds of data just saying this is what you guys lost out on in the past year. According to that one economist we saw down at the forecast breakfast, he said that 1% interest is about 10% buying power. And I'm sure there's some variables involved in that. George, are you on the line? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rob.
So is that a fair statement, George, to say that a 1% bump in rate is 10% loss in buying power? So if you were a $350 buyer and interest rates went up 1%, you would be a $315 buyer at the same payment?
It's actually closer to 11%. Yeah, it's just
about 10%.
It's between 10 and 11%, but yeah, it's a minimum 10% on 1% in the rate.
Right. So if you went a quarter point, so then would be so a 2.5%. So basically, for every basis point, it's that works. It's kind of like a 10th of a percent in interest rate is a 10%. Or 1/10 of a point, right? So, 1%. Yeah. So 1/10 of a percent of interest is 1% of buying power. So if rates go up 4%, 0.4 or 0.5%, you've lost 5% of your buying power. Plus, and values, and theoretically, property values will go down as rates go up. However, by the tightness of our inventory, that's not going to happen. Okay, unless rates jump 2-3% at one time. But
the other thing is, we've really lost in the last 90 days since the week prior to Christmas to right now. We've lost a full percent in the rate, but our inventory here, we're such just like a thimble in the bucket, that it's our economy doesn't. We could have a lot of things going on around us, but we might be insulated or we might be isolated or, so it's tough to tell. But yeah, we've got you and I've talked about this, Rob, we've just got a great, strong economy here. And especially at the low end, there's always demand.
Right. And because of our growth, our internal growth and our external growth, so that's why normally when rates go up, prices go down. But we're not going to have that. So that's a double squeeze on buyers, right? That's a double squeeze on buyers. So if prices went up, in 6 months, if they went up 4%, and let's just, 4%, a little conservative, and then even say 3%, and then if rates went up 0.25%, so they lost 2.5% buying power, plus the value of a home went up $10,000. So that's a great little, in my opinion, that's your buyer Facebook ad right there. Anybody on the fence, that's your ad right there. So,
yeah.
And then, So, well, anyway, what do you got? Any besides the fact that it's between 10 and 11? So the economist said 10%, which George is kind of what I call one of my nerd counterparts. So in the mortgage world, he's the nerd. And so, do you have anything for us today, George?
Just a couple of things. I just had, you just told me to run some stats and stuff, and I you know what I mean. And I've got a graph that I actually put together. It's about a year old, but I mean it was based over a 20-year history. But the perception is that when the Fed raises rates, that mortgage rates go up, and more often than not, the opposite is true, because they're unrelated. But if the Fed is raising rates and they get real aggressive on raising rates, that has, over the long term, that has a dampening effect on the future outlook of where, pricing and, bond pricing is going to be in it. And it does tend to help rates. In fact, when the Fed raised the rates in December, the short-term effect was a rate improvement. But then since they've done nothing since then, we've seen the rates go up a full percent since mid-December. But the other thing I get people asking a lot of times, they'll say, well, can you run me some numbers at 300, and then run me numbers at 310, and run me numbers at 320, and run me numbers, and they want you. And bottom line is, it's about 5.5 cents per thousand. So if somebody wants to move,
you got a real feedback to it, or somebody does.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Let me hit mute. Hold on. I went away. I don't know if that was you or not.
I'm on a landline. I came in on a landline.
The hell is that?
But yeah, so anyway, but it's about 5.5 cents per thousand. So if somebody wants to go up or down 10,000 in sales price, it's about $55. I mean, that's just an easy way to do it. But
so $5. Let me ask a question. So $5.50 per thousand. And is that PITI or is that just PI?
That's total. That's everything.
Okay. So did you hear that? So when you're running around with a buyer, and it's about $5.50 per thousand. And that's not an exact science, because, that's including principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, we can include principal, interest, but tax and insurance is an estimate until we actually have hard numbers. But that's a good barometer, which really can help you if you know a buyer's qualified for $1,400 a month, and you got a $150 HOA fee, so you now know that you got to take off 150 times 5.5. That's 80. No, that ain't right. So if I were to take, so what would that be? So it'd be 0.025, right? So 150. It would be about $30,000 difference in buying power. You get that? So that's a good number to have. So you said you had a graph that shows 20-year history when the Feds move, what actual mortgage rates do?
Yeah, it's outdated a little bit. I've got it, but I've got one from about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other plug I was going to give to Rob is that I have an app, and I think I've shared it with you on there too. And I know that Amy's got it. I know Dave Wright's got it. A couple other people, but it has a pretty good calculator in it. And I've got the defaults in there for FHA and some other stuff, and somebody can sit there and literally with a buyer, you can sit there and run the numbers, or I have no problem answering a phone call and stuff, but some people are just kind of they want to run it themselves. But that app will also track a loan that's in process too. When somebody sees it, every milestone that the loan reaches, disclosures, going into underwriting, coming out of underwriting, ordering appraisal, receiving appraisal, all that stuff. Our processing software automatically sends out the updates, so that you see what's happening live as it happens in processing. So, but that app has a lot of cool things on it, including the mortgage calculator, some pricing things, and it's so it's good.
So is that a web app or a phone app?
It's a phone app.
Got it. So how does
Android, Apple? Just all I need is somebody's cell phone number, just name and cell phone number. Shoot me an email, and I just text the app over to you. You just tap it, and it's on your phone.
So they just need your email address is all they need?
Yeah, if they add my email address, George at the Credit Jungle, and thanks, Rob, for helping me come up with that name.
George at the Credit Jungle.com.
Yep.
Okay? Of course, anybody needs it, just see me, I'll get it to you. So, All right. Well, that's some good stuff. I like that. That was a great idea, Todd. I think that was you, right, Todd, that came up with what the buyer should know. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, and again, you don't need to have, it doesn't have to be so exact that you get a headache trying to figure it out. What you need to do is just go to, what do you call it? I mean, just have a general number that says, hey, look, figure it out. Figure it out based on, say, $250,000 that if you wait 4 months, it'll actually, you're going to lose this much money, and just have a round number, and, but my head's reeling with that possibility. So I'm like, to the point it's distracting me, So yeah, Charles just put a graph on Facebook. Let me pull that up over here, and let's show that. So this is interesting. If you bought a house in 1985, $102,000 house in 85 was a $999 mortgage. In 2000, at that rate, it was $144,000. So, so really, but here's the sad news: wages haven't gone up. That's why that number's the same. Wages are starting to see some impact, but that's the real story, in my opinion, or that's the backstory that nobody talks about. That right there, the fact that people, the same house the prices haven't gone up. It's just how much the banks were making. So, or wages haven't moved. So anyway, but good stuff today. So, does anybody else have anything? If people don't have anything else, I'm going to go ahead and end the call. And hopefully this was get you going. I know the nerds are going to dig it because they're like, now they got a whole new toy to go play with. But don't let this consume your day. Remember, people are off today, and if they got kids at home, and if they're off from work, they're not going anywhere because of snow. Great time to make phone calls. Great time to be making phone calls today. So unless you got any further questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the call so everybody can get on calls, including me. See you guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, bye.